PvP solo game, because actually Steven said that anybody can play the game. He wants to make it a game that anybody can play, PvX. So that means that you don't necessarily, I think that there will probably be ways to play the game solo, because that's what an MMO is. See, what these people actually don't realize is that an MMO is a game that some people can play solo, because an MMO gives you the agency to decide whether you want to play solo.
PvE only zones, people just don't cross over. You end up splitting the community. For example, on New World you have the whole flag for PvP, and not that many people do it, and that's not fun. If it was a case that everyone was flagged for PvP at all time, that game would be so different, and different.
Yeah, it would be different. And so the thing is that there's a reason why New World got rid of that. Yes, I understand that, like, it's very easy to go and say that. Yeah, he proved his point. Exactly, yeah.
In a good way. Instead, we have a watered-down version of what could have been, and we have PvE Care Bears running around chopping trees to their heart's delight.
Yeah.
And that's just not as fun as what it could have been.
To who? To who? And that's what I'm saying, right? It's like for him, right? And like, that's fine. You can make that argument that it's not fun for you. You don't like that. You want to play a full loot PvP game, or maybe not full loot, but you want to play a PvP game where you can kill people whenever you want. That's totally fine. But I also think that it's totally fine to say, hey, these are what these games create. These are the amount of people that these games make, and the amount of people that these, the amount of people that these games attract. And again, you can never argue with numbers, and that's the best thing about them, is that whenever the numbers aren't on your side, everybody always has to go and make a fucking excuse of, oh, this is actually why or that. Of course, it's all subjective. Yeah, exactly. No one wants open world PvP, which means AOC won't have population. These gankers want. AOC won't grow, get timely updates. That's true too. He wants his idea forced on everyone. Yes, exactly. So this is really what it comes down to, is that in New World, there are a lot of people that go on with flagged PvP. I'll even give you an example here. Obviously, like, it's not like everybody. I wouldn't even say it's the majority of people. But to say that, like, nobody uses it, this is just a factually untrue statement. I think that, again, you can go over and like, let's see here. Asmon Gold, New World, Brimstone. Let's go ahead and just look and see how many people are PvPing. Last time I played the game, 6 times. This is whenever I played it. I think there are people PvPing around me. There's nobody around in this area. I don't know how to feel about these wings. I'm excited. I think there are some about Elite. Right, let's see. There's 2 people right there that are PvP flagged right there. So this idea that, like, nobody goes around the New World PvP flagged is just simply not true. And I'm just using one example, right? So this doesn't really prove it or not. But what I'm saying is that the idea that, like, this killed New World and people don't do this, I feel like this is fucking true. I think there's a lot of people that go around and do PvP on. Absolutely, I've seen it. I've played the game a lot. Here we go. It's a 4-hour video, found 2 PvPers. Yeah, but we looked at 5 people. You're right. Yeah, 2 people is not a very good measurement, but I looked at 5 people total in the game. Here we go.
I have nothing against Lucky Ghost personally, but that video...
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
There was a clear lack in research. It was very scaremongery. It had a Raid Shadow Legend advert in the middle of it.
But you know what they will like? Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh my god, oh my god, this guy's a clown. This guy is such a shill.
Just a pro tip if you're trying to...
I mean, it's not really a shill, right? I mean, like, I would say, like, a shill is whenever you're selling something, like, underhand. Like, I mean, yeah, he took a sponsor, right? I mean, I'm sure this guy probably has ads and how is it acceptable to have inside of YouTube and have ads in your video that are unskippable unless you have ad blocker, but somehow it's less ethical and less okay for you to have ads inside of your videos that any viewers can skip through. Logically, this doesn't make sense. I would view the more ethical thing to actually be to include your own ads and to not have monetization on your channel in the first place. Because the monetization on your channel leads to cookies, which leads to different things where you're able to be tracked more, you're able to get more of your data so they can send you more personalized ads. Some people could view that as an invasion of privacy, but with a Raid Shadow Legend sponsor inside of a video, none of those things happen. So if you want to make an argument that having a Raid Shadow Legend sponsor is somehow insincere or it damages his perspective, I think that you could make that same argument to having any monetized content on the internet. And I think that the argument would be stronger even for monetized content that actually exists through the Google ad program.
I make some big dramatic video, don't do a fucking Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship in the middle of it. Like, keep that for your fluff pieces. However, there is one shining light to come from this, and that is, of course, Stephen Cherie's massive balls. The fact that Stephen commented and just doubled down on PvP and explained as to why it's going to be so great, just honestly gives you so much reassurance as a consumer of this game. It is super refreshing.
Which, to keep in mind, by the way, whenever you read this last sentence, which is, of course, why it will require considerable testing and feedback. So this clearly means that nothing is really set in stone, and I think he's probably going to do what I've said that I think they should do. Release it the way that you think it should work.
Yep. And let it fall. Let it fall. I have an idea what I want in a fucking MMO, and I'm going to testify to this and react to the react, right? I want a Final Fantasy XIV-esque quality world with Ffxi quality mobs, New World quality combat. This is that thing. We need an amalgamation now. Procedural generation of Valheim or EVE Online. Player housing like Rust. I'm dead serious. Build your house out in the world somewhere, and the world's procedurally generated, so who the fuck cares, right? And like, you know, you can, as long as you pay taxes for your particular node, it doesn't get changed up in the monthly scramble, and you can keep your property, though you do have a home that's out there, and that's revolutionary. They won't be able to do this yet. They don't have the tech to do this yet. But that's what I want, though. I want we've seen it before, though. We do have the tech to do this. For instance, that was the main draw to Richard Garriott's game. What's it called? Shroud of the Avatar, right? Shroud of the Avatar, you could have homes all over the fucking world. It didn't matter. It wasn't a procedurally generated world, but it was close. And it was definitely phased, and it had interesting things going on. Player housing like Rust, where you can't have your home taken or your loot taken, but they can make it very difficult for you to leave your house. So then you gotta like teleport your loot out and go find a home somewhere else. Something like that. A little bit softer than the full-blown eviction loop that Rust has, right? A little bit softer, because the Rust eviction loop is for really nasty, shitty people. It's the only type of people who would truly take joy in it. The whole time I was really like playing Rust, one of the reasons I love both my crews, but I liked my first crew more because they would do anything that they could anything they could do to avoid raiding. Like, avoid it. I'm talking about, like, stay the fuck away from it. Because when you do that, you get counters. And we're not worried about the people we're blowing. We're good players. We're not worried about dude, Dalton's still better at Fortnite than me. Like, fucking, like they were good players and stuff. All of them. Even Lucky's really good. So is John. They're all fucking... Dog was, like, the best Rust player I ever met, I think. You know, I don't know. I think Kaboomkin's the best Rust player I've ever met. But I don't know about... Like, or maybe even his brother. I would say his brother is pretty good, too. Though I've seen Boom do some crazy things that none of the rest of my fucking family really actually, like, did. Boom is on his own fucking level because he's got the discipline. You know, he's got a wife and a life, and you know, and he's gonna get married and all this, and you know, he's got that discipline. I don't think most of the people in my crew do. And like, it's kind of weird, like, you know, and anyways, I got into my Rust people, which wasn't what I was trying to do. I was trying to get into like what works for Rust and what doesn't. The building in Rust works. The evictions don't. And so this is that thing. I don't see why the tool cupboard was ever vulnerable in the first fucking place. They shouldn't be able to evict you. They should just be able to rob you and replace the doors so you can't get in without raiding into your own empty base, which makes the you know, you can raid into your own empty base if you want, if they didn't kill the fucking tool cupboard. But at that point, why would you want to? They've ousted you. They've stole all of your loot. They stole all your sulfur and your explosives and stuff. You're out of that. You're effectively out of that. You got nothing but a fucking like a rock, a torch, and a fucking dream to somehow get to like some kind of fucking workbench, build the bombs to go blow in your own fucking base and take it back again. And if you want that base back that bad again, then make them fucking put walls around it so you gotta blow through the fucking walls too. I'd rather see caged up huge bases than, like, you know, that people can't get back into and retake and rebuild and stuff. But the whole thing, I saw a revolutionary idea about this in V Rising, which was that the like when you were offline, your tool cupboard is not vulnerable, and they can blow in your fucking walls and they can take your fucking loot, but they can't fucking, you know, they can't actually take your fucking base. Now they can make it really hard for you to run in and out of that fucking base. That's better than a full-blown eviction, though. Full-blown evictions are so fucking bitter, because you're like, I swear to God, it's like an element in our, there's an element in our personality where, like, it doesn't matter if we've lost something. It matters if we can get it back. And the whole thing about loss is, can we get it back? This is why death affects us so badly, but losing our companies doesn't, you know? Some people it does. But, like, you might lose your company, but you're like, oh, I can get back down on the streets, and I'm still a genius, and I can crawl my way up. I did it. I crawled my way up. Literally, you'd understand if you've done it. I think most people don't live their lives. I think they just sit around in front of their computers all day, working their fucking cubicle jobs or whatever the fuck job they have, doing, like, construction labor or, like, you know, fucking driving cars, you know, driving cabs or whatever the fuck. Like, I did this. When I lost everything, my ex had essentially killed herself in front of me, and I was living in the streets of Denver in the freezing fucking cold, and I had a drug addiction, and I had a problem. And I would couch surf from time to time, but I needed a more permanent place I could just crash when I didn't want to be a fucking, you know, a total, like, asshole to everybody and be a leech and live off them and live with them and stuff and be a fucking couch surfer loser like Kato Kalin at 36. So I found a burnt-out restaurant that I lived in that was on South Pearl Street called the Bistro. And the Bistro burned down, and they left that building up for 5 years just totally with the power up. It was a gamer's dream. It was like a gamer hacker's dream. It was like, I came in there and I just went in there. I tried the front door. It was open. And I was like, okay. I was like searching for food in dumpsters one night on South Pearl and stuff because my life was just destroyed. I watched my girlfriend kill herself in front of me. My other friend had shot his father and then himself first. I was completely depressed. My crew was wrecked. Like, they couldn't. I'm living on the streets, and I'm like trying to get back up. So during the day, I spend my time at the coffee shop where I made about 50 really good friends and met my best friend, love of my life. And I'm sitting at the coffee shop all day and living in the bistro at night, eating out of the pizza dumpster. There's a pizza place next door. They would leave their fucking boxes of pizza on the top of the dumpster because they knew I was starving to death. And they didn't. I mean, at the end of the night, they had like 10 free pizzas and shit. They would just throw them out. They were sick of pizza. They throw the pizza out on the dumpster, and I would just take it. I made a living off that for a year and a half. I had power from the place. Just had power, and I had internet that I strung in from somebody else's connection with a really long USB cord and a fucking a Wi-Fi router NIC, little Wi-Fi NIC, little card Wi-Fi NIC. They're like, you know, the size of, you know, like, I don't know, like a cigar or something. And and I plugged it in, I put a plastic bag around it, and I put it up on the fucking roof, and I was able to get just enough of like a 2 megabyte connection from a free Wi-Fi down the street that I was able to have internet. And I had a laptop. All I had to my name was a camping backpack with some clothes and stuff in it, a tent that I kept in the bistro, and that was it. And and then also a sleeping bag. And I used to sleep in the park when, you know, things were bad or whatever. I would sleep in the park and stuff. I was homeless, you know, straight up homeless, like dumpster diving for food. I didn't beg. By the way, the entire year and a half that I was homeless, I don't believe I asked $1 from anyone. It was a whole pride thing. I didn't ask $1. I didn't ask for fucking help. I had food stamps, thank God. But not right away, though. Not the first 7 months of it. I didn't have fucking food stamps. It took a long time for them to do that because I didn't have an address. And so, like, you know, it was like that. And I have help from friends. I could take a shower at my best friend's place, like, you know, whenever I wanted to. So every 1, 2, 3 days, I'd come take a shower and stuff and stink up their bathroom and, you know, stain their nice white tub with my dirt and all that shit. But, I mean, like, they were okay with that. They loved me. They wanted me to succeed. They just knew I was going through something. And so, and thank God for them for opening up the most sacred, holy place in the world to a methamphetamine addict. It could have been so much worse than it was. And I didn't mistreat them, and they didn't mistreat me, and it went well. And so anyways, and I crawled my way up off that fucking streets. I kept looking. I kept working construction. And eventually I had, like, you know, $300 to my name. I had $300 in my wallet. I don't know how I did that when I was homeless, because you're always tempted to buy drugs and liquor and food with it. But, I mean, you can't. So I saved up $300, and I started looking around for what I could do. And I took the $300 and I went and I bought some drugs, and you guys know all the rest of the story, I believe, or at least somebody does. I bought some drugs and I started selling 20s, and I sold 20s while I hung around couch surfing for a couple of days at my friend's house. And suddenly, when I was selling 20s or giving 20s away, like, or even half grams or whatever the fuck, or even full grams and stuff to my friends, suddenly I wasn't so much of a couch dweller anymore. I was a badass who lived at the house that everybody loved, which was a curious effect. I went from being like, oh, it's Sky again, or whatever, you know, Cat, or, you know, whatever they called me. Oh, it's Cat again, you know, to like, oh, it's Cat, come on, let him in, you know, like kind of thing. It was like totally different. And so I you know, and I would bring liquor home on Friday nights. I'd be like, here's a bottle of vodka on me, you know, and I started making little money here and there. But I mean, like, you know, at first, the dealer won't do anything but sell you shit that's like at like market level. They won't cut you a break on it. So that $300, it was essentially $300 worth of dope. It wasn't $300 worth of, it wasn't $900 worth of sales. It was $300 worth of sales. But I somehow made that work. I was like, yo, I got this thing, but it's my last one. I need 30 for this one. And they would do it. And then suddenly I was doing a little bit better, and I went and I rented a car from a place called Hire Car. I got some money in my credit card, and I rented the Hire Car, and I washed myself up and stuff, and I reapplied to Uber, and because I hadn't caught my charge yet, they actually let me work, and I took that nice white rent-a-car, and for like 6 months I drove Uber 60-hour weeks. I sold drugs the other 40 hours of the waking week. I slept every like 3 to 6 days or something like that, and one day I came home and I had $2,800 fucking dollars. Now, I'd sold drugs to do this, which I don't fucking recommend, but it would have been true of anything. I'm not saying the drugs are the part of the story that matters. It could have been anything. It could have been candy. Because I sold donuts, I sold candy, I sold bags of chips, I sold anything I could to get the fuck off the streets, and they bought it because they knew I needed the 25 cents profit or whatever the fuck it was. I brought beer, liquor, anything people would buy, and I sold shit off the street. I'm a pretty good salesman, though. I'm not good at selling. I just had something. I was very good in knowing, like an MMO player, I was very good at knowing what people wanted at a particular time, and if you provide it, they will pay you a 20% markup. They will. And so if it's Saturday night and it's 2 a.m. and they're out of liquor, you have a bottle of vodka in your fucking backpack, you could be like, look, I need this fucking bottle of vodka to get through the fucking week, but I'll sell it to you for $50 if you want. And even your best friends could be like, yes, give it to me. Give it to me now. Here's $50. Give it. And I'm not judging you for selling it to me for that much money. They'll tell it right to your face. They're like, thank God you have liquor. It's 3:45 in the morning. We can't get any. We have 8 hours till the store's open. And like all this shit, you know, when they're an alcoholic, they'll do it. You know, I did that several times. And speed was the same thing. When they're feeding for speed, they'll pay anything for it. Anything. And so, like, you know, and that's how I crawled my way up off the fucking streets. And by the end of it, I went from eating out of the dumpsters, and I mean this, pulling sandwiches and old food out of the 7-Eleven fucking dumpster and old dead pizzas out of the fucking pizza dumpster and stuff. Living in the back of a fucking coffee house with, like, you know, homeless, with, like, and sleeping in a burnt out restaurant, getting ousted by police every few months and stuff, getting attacked by police every few months and stuff, and, like, targeted by pretty much everybody, because when you're homeless, you get targeted. Nobody ever talks about that part of the homelessness. People target you when you're homeless for all kinds of nasty jokes, nasty things, nasty, like nasty tricks and stuff. That's what they do to you when you're down on the fucking street. It's hilarious. Humans, there's a reason. I have more reason to hate humans than most. When you're the worst you've ever been in your whole life and you've let it all go and you're living on the fucking streets and you're a 40-year-old man or whatever, you're like a 35-year-old man, you're living on the fucking streets, you're a loser, you're a drunk meth addict, that's when they start kicking you really hard. It's hilarious. They really want to kick you really hard when you're down because they think it's something about teaching you a fucking lesson or something. Because they're holier than thou, shithead, whatever, right wingers or whatever. They want to make sure that you feel bad because you're in that situation because they want you to blame yourself. But in the end, you got to remember we're playing a rigged fucking game where 30% of our money is stolen by the government, and like the other 70% goes to rent. You know, so by the end of it. I was living with a 20-year-old hottie, the hottest girl I've ever seen in my fucking life. I had a fucking sports car that I rented, that I was driving Uber with, nice white sports car and shit. I'm talking really nice, like 2020, or whatever it was, 2018, you know, 2018 white Nissan, like Altima, 2018 white Nissan Altima. It doesn't seem like that much. It wasn't Altima, it was, I forget, but it was a really fast, nice car. You know, it was super good. My friends used to like to try and take it to 140 because it was a good car. And so then, you know, and by the end of it, I was living in a 5-star hotel for weeks on end, right? 5-star hotel for weeks on end with the hottest girl I ever met in my fucking life. Ordering food 3 times a day, getting high when I fucking want to, going and selling drugs when I fucking wanted to, going and working Uber when I fucking wanted to, and something like usually $2,000 in cash in my pocket at the end of the day. And that's not a lot of money to most people, but it is to me. And it is if you're pulling in $2,000 a day, because do the math on that motherfucker, that's $700 grand a year. It's like $700 grand a year. Sometimes I would make $2,850 was the most I've ever made. But I was like, dude, it's cool. And these people want it. It's not like I'm down there on the upper class, richy sort of white people that all had houses. I was very scared of running across people in the scene that were like living in the gutter like me, that had nothing left to lose, that wanted to rob me. But it was actually quite the opposite. Most of the methamphetamine people are like middle class people who can actually afford to pay for $100, $50, $100 a gram or whatever the fuck, $30, $50, $100 a gram, something like that. And so I dug my way out. And no, I don't condone selling drugs to do this. I'm just saying I did what I had to fucking do to get off the fucking streets. I wouldn't be here right now. One night I damn near did freeze to death. It was like 16 degrees below or something like that. And I had 5 fucking layers and a sleeping bag and a tent, and it didn't fucking matter. It was like 16 fucking below. And finally, my ex-girlfriend, she was like, you have to call a fucking cab and take you to a fucking hotel, and I'm gonna get you a hotel room, and you have to get warm, you're going to die. And I was like, really? I was like, I don't want to. It's gonna be sunrise in like 3 hours, and I'll be able to warm up in some place like the coffee shop. It's just like, no, you're going to die. You have to call. I'm calling. Where are you? I'm going to call you a cab. And I love her for this. I was going to die that day. She saved my life 2 times. That was one of them. And I got in the cab, and I was sick. I had frozen damn near to death. I was blue, and he didn't want to pick up somebody at 4:50 in the fucking morning, but he did it. Thank God. He could tell I was gonna die. And I was like, I'm going to a fucking motel. Please take me. And he was like, okay, I understand. And he took me to the motel. That cabbie, he didn't have to take me. I used to deny rides all the time if it scared me, but that cabbie could see I needed it, and I took it to the motel. And I was like, yeah, my friend got me a motel room so I could get warm. And they were like, we understand, we get this a lot. And they were nice about it too. They could have denied service too. And they were like, and I came down in the morning nice and fresh and in my best clothes, and I shook the person's hand, and I was like, thank you for not denying me service. I understand that you knew I was homeless when I hauled a tent and a sleeping bag in here, and you didn't stop service. You could have, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I cried. I was like, thank you for not doing this. You have a nice day. I'm leaving your premises. You have a good day. And I just left, and I'll never forget that moment either. And that's good people won't kick you when you're fucking down. The good people won't kick you when you're down. The bad people can't wait to fucking wind up and kick you in the fucking head. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they can. Doesn't matter. That's what the state of humanity is now these days. And so if I can pull myself up out of the fucking gutter, anybody can. And this is that thing about, like, if you want to kill yourself when you lose your company or your business or a loved one or whatever. But here's my thing about this. Here is my life's motto. Everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end, right? And I get a lot of depression and mental health problems in my community, stepping to me all day, trying to act like I have the one acting like I'm the one who has the problem when I'm dead sober, I'm productive, I'm working, I own a home, I'm a tax-paying member of community. The only assistance that I receive is some family cooking and some food stamps, and when I make some money, I'm getting off that. You better believe it and shit. So it's like, it is where it is. I am where I am, and that's the whole spiel about this. There's always two ways out. There's always some way to do it if you actually fucking apply your mind to it, and instead of sitting there getting high and thinking about how it all sucks, you actually apply your fucking intelligent brain, if you have one. Hopefully you do, like, fucking to, like, getting out of the fucking situation and get out of the fucking situation. And I have no sympathy for the people I want to kick in the fucking head, or the people who don't fucking, like, lift themselves out of that fucking gutter however the fuck they can. I did it worse than them. A lot of those people were far more prepared to live on the streets than I was. And I went in, like, totally blue to really bad, how bad Colorado winters can be, or any of that other stuff. And I did it. It wasn't fine. It wasn't a fun experience. I had some days I would walk all day with a fucking heavy backpack just to get across town so I could camp somewhere closer to my drug dealer. That's how it was. You walk for 10 hours, bloody feet. One day, my friend Pat took me to the fucking, this is a true story, took me to the Kmart over on Santa Fe and Hampton, and he was like, "We got to get you some foods, man. Some shoes, man. Your fucking feet are grossing me out. They're bloody. They're scabbed. You've been walking barefoot all summer. There's something really wrong with you. You got to get some shoes, and I'm going to buy you shoes." And I'll never forget that either. And I couldn't go into the Kmart, so he had to go in there with my size and come back with a fucking pair of shoes. But that's the people that really will help you when you're down. That's who will help you when you're down. That's, like, I love my friend Pat, and I really miss him so badly. But in the end, he wanted to kill me because I needed shelter in the fucking winter, and I took it. And I took the shelter. I didn't ask. I just fucking took it because I was going to die if I didn't. And he's still so mad at me, I bet, and I don't care. I did what I had to do to survive, and I didn't stay there long. I was there, I think, maybe 2 months, and then I left. I was gone, see ya, never spoke to him again, never was a burden to him again, ever. I loved him, though. He was a good friend. And, This is when you crawl yourself up out of the fucking gutter to the point where you own a home. I own a home. I own this motherfucker. Sure, it's not $500,000. No, it's about a tenth of that. But I don't fucking care. I don't care. I own my home. I have a shower. I have a queen size bed. I've got 2 TVs, 3 TVs, 4 TVs, and a webcam. And I'm trying to crawl out of the gutter again. Here I am. I've got no money. Got $1 to my fucking name, and here I am trying to crawl myself up out of the gutter. And here they are trying to kick me as hard as they fucking can. They kick me as hard as they can. And that's the shithead humanity you can't hide from me, you fucking shitheads. You know what I'm saying? I've been through it before. You guys think I'm new to this. I'm not. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Rich, poor, in, out, up, down, all over the world. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. I actually used my life. Unlike some people. My question that I always ask people who think they know everything is, have you seen the ocean? And you'd be surprised. All these hicks, usually in the South, usually in the Midwest, or whatever the fuck, the center of the country and stuff. They think they're so good at everything. Have you seen the ocean? This is my question. Have you seen the ocean? Yeah, sure. Maybe you went to the beach, etc. when you were a kid. But I mean, like, did you ever actually live at the ocean? Because I have. And I'm just saying, it's a little bit different. Like, you guys think you're so full of yourselves. It's some kind of thing about, like, you think you know better. You don't. Until you walked a mile in my fucking shoes, you may not know these hardships people don't speak of. You know what I'm saying? I repeat that because it bears repeating. You may not know the hardships people don't speak of, so don't kick them when they're fucking down. That is not honorable. And that's all I have to say about that.
Don't start course correcting.
If I can pull my ass out of this ghetto, you can too. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So like, I don't have a lot of sympathy for poor people, and I don't help them ever. But I mean, like, I don't kick them when they're down. I help them when they need it, but I don't help them, like, going out looking to help them. I'm not Mother Teresa. But, like, I definitely have been there, and I know what it is, and I know what the traps of it are, and all this other shit. And, you know, by the way, I didn't end up on the streets because of drugs. I was sober for a lot of that. I couldn't afford it. I was sober for most of that. If you're high on drugs when the police oust you out of a fucking, you know, burnt out restaurant and stuff, they're going to put you in jail for a while. They're going to hit you with possession, or they're going to plant something on you. Like, that happens a lot in Denver. You're going to, you know, you're going to end up in jail if you're high. So, like, a lot of the, like, when you go, like, search on the internet, things to do when you're homeless, things to look out for when you're homeless. One of the first ones they say is you might want to be a drunk crackhead bum, like everybody thinks that they are, like all homeless are. But the reality is, and they know this, statistically, the most sober people on the fucking planet are the homeless. I know that goes against statistically, and this is the truth too. Statistically, the most people on the fucking planet, the most sober people on the planet, the most sober constituency is the homeless. Because they, first of all, they can't buy it. They can't get it for free. They don't have a home, so they can't invite the guy over or go to his house because they're homeless. They can't get drugs or liquor because they don't have any money. So you always see this guy going like, give me $1 for a beer and stuff. I get that. But like, you'd be surprised. That's actually the 0.07% of the actual homeless. Most of the actual homeless in the world are like living in Walmart cars, you know, living in tent villages and stuff. And sure, some of them are doing drugs, but most of the homeless people I met were actually sober. Like, really depressingly, cold-heartedly sober. Like, get this guy a fucking drink. He just slept through 10-degree weather. You know, get this poor guy a drink kind of thing. You know, get this poor guy a fucking drink. Seriously, like, what does it take to get a drink in this fucking crazy Gestapo fucking fascist country? Because it's like, Jesus Christ, give the man a fucking drink. You know, like, what they deal with? Ooh. You know, get him a drink, get him a crack pipe, please. Because, like, you know, fucking Christ, dude. Like, what they deal with, I've seen it, I've done it, I've been there. And it is not fun. When I was living in a house as a house sitter, I was homeless and I was a house sitter, this girl filed an assault charge to try to get me out of the house so she could take the house over and live there. She was homeless. And she tried to file an assault charge on me to get me out of the fucking house, and so that she could take it over and steal it. And I went to jail overnight on that one, and the lawyer laughed it off, and we beat my 7th and final false assault charge. And on that one, by the way, the first 6 really helped. I was like, dear lawyer, are you aware that Denver has dropped 6 assault charges on me? 6. Because dropped, as in like, didn't go to court, didn't debate, didn't fight it, or whatever. I'm talking about inconclusive evidence dropped. There was, I mean, you know, like, as in it was obvious I didn't hurt anybody. Dropped it, you know. They dropped 7 assault charges on me. For some reason, people, like, when I started telling people the story of the first 6 assault charges, that I could tell they all wanted to kick me in the head because I was homeless, and you could tell almost all of them started scheming, how can we get them on a 7th assault charge, because it'd be funny. You know, and that's the kind of shit people get up to. So I don't trust human beings. So I don't like them. So I don't want a girlfriend. I don't want anything. I'm okay. I'm good. You guys didn't, like, trust me. You don't want to live the life that I did. You don't want to be with me. You don't want to be, you know, you don't want to live with me. I sleep differently every single day. I'm fucking crazy. I'm just, you know, etc. So most people will be super depressed about that. But I'm actually, like, with the acceptance of it comes closure. With the closure comes acceptance. And with both of those things, you have, like, a full-blown infinite cycle of it's okay. It's okay. We made it. I don't need them. Fuck them. I'm okay without them for the rest of my fucking life. No, not in 30 years. I'm not gonna, like, kind of, like, look back fondly and be like, oh, I miss my friends. I'm just done. I wasn't treated too well by humanity. Not at all. So, you know, it gets what it is. And sure, I was a drug dealer. I deserved it all. Fuck me. Put me in prison, right? I guess. I don't know. Put me in prison, right? But, I mean, I did go to jail a lot. I went to jail a lot. I mean, if you don't think I didn't, I did. I went to jail, I think, like 36 times. And I'm not kidding. It's not some number I'm pulling out of my head. It's an amalgamation of the 27 charges I caught and the 11 ones that or whatever it is, 9 ones that I beat. You know what I'm saying? It was like 36 times or something like that. So, you know, whatever. I did go to jail a lot. I did pay my debts to fucking society. I was in and out. I mean, you know, whatever. I did it. I full blown did 5 years of probation with drug tests every week for the first 4 years, and then drug tests every month. The last 5th year, I had to go see a judge once a month for the first 4 fucking years. I had to see a probation once a month for the first fucking 4 years. I had to plead and beg with public defenders that were overlaw due to COVID and all this other stuff. I had to cry, plead, and beg in court in front of people about how unjust it was that they were being, and how bad the judge would be if he actually let it happen and all this stuff. And I had to plead, beg, and moan to get everything that I wanted, but I got everything that I wanted. And it took me a lot. It took me a lot of time in jail. It took me all this other stupid shit. I am not a good example for kids, which is why I don't want them in my fucking channel. But I can't block them. You can't block kids on Twitch. So, I mean, I wish I could. I wish I could block fucking kids on Twitch. I really would. My content is for fucking adults. It's just not, you know, but I mean, many of the things I'm saying, you could tell to a 7-year-old as a precautionary tale too. So it's like sort of weird. It's, you know, so, and that's where I am with this. Like, I understand that they'll kick you when you're down, but you can still rebuild no matter what. No, there's always 2 ways out. Always.
Before people haven't gotten on the course yet.
Why is this off
As a
over
consumer
and over and
of
over and
this
over?
game, it is super refreshing to see a game development team actually make a game that they want to play, as opposed to
Yeah,
making a
it's super
game-
refreshing. So, like, I want things also that I want in an MMO. I want the kind of player housing that was in Shroud of the Avatar, because it was good. A mixture of Rust and, say, like these ESO player housing, right? Guild halls and such. That's actually a really good idea. It's if we had, like, say, like, what movie was I watching yesterday? And there was this beautiful home. I think it was, you should be able to build a quality guild home. Like, this is my issue with Rust, too. Rust is too fucking base. They could have easily worked on it a lot more and added twice to the building wheel. You know, I'm sure Kaboomkin probably feels the same way. Rust was inferior. I'm sorry, not inferior. Rust was superior, but it had inferior level. I mean, I know why they did what they did. It's balance, but I feel like the same building system that was there 8 years ago is the exact same building system that's here today. They kibitz with the rules and what you can do with the building here and there with Rust, but they don't actually fucking limit you. They don't fucking limit you. And the Rust, I'm sorry, not the Rust, but what was I going to say? The movie I watched last night, right? I'm going to show one frame from a movie. Please don't, report me, because it's not, what I'm doing is not against the rules to show one frame from a movie, right? The house from, never mind, I'm just going to do it on image search so I don't get fucked with by retards. The house in The Purge, right? The house in The Purge. I know that trolling and money is your god now, but this house is what I want to build in Rust. And you can build this in Rust, no problem. Absolutely can build this in Rust. There's no reason why you couldn't. You could build this in Rust, but it wouldn't look good like this. I want something that looks good like this, like a stately manse out in Spain. You remember the mansion that Maximus from Gladiator had his wife, right? They burn it and they murder his wife and his kid. That's the kind of thing that would happen to me. I love Marcus Aurelius, or not Marcus Aurelius. Well, I love Marcus Aurelius, but I also like Maximus, right? Maximus, I forget his whole name, but Maximus from Gladiator. He had a house like this in Spain, and his whole desire was just to get back there. And I think this would be really good to put this in video games. I want houses of this quality in Ash's Creation. I want Ash's Creation to get pushed back 5 fucking years. I know that's nothing that anybody wants to fucking hear, but I want Ash's Creation to be pushed back 5 fucking years. You guys came to market too soon, and trust me, we all know 100% of the fucking time your game fails if you rush to market too soon. We know it. We know it happens. Why can't we build a house like this in New World or, whatever, Ashes of Creation, and have it be a stately manse that's a guild home, and up in here, in the top of it, in here, is 5 chests with some of the game's best possible procedural loot, and they can't unless they take over the country or the area that your house is in. They can't loot your home, and if they do take over your area, you know, you might lose 2 months of work. Say this might take you 2 months of work to build this. You might lose 2 months of work, but you can easily go rebuild it with no problem somewhere else. And while you're building, you shouldn't be able to be accosted. In builder mode, you should be invisible, kind of. Something like that. You're like the contractors come in. If they want to build something, they come in at 3 a.m. It doesn't matter. They'll build it. It's like that. You know, so it doesn't matter. It's like, so it doesn't matter if raiders want to hit you or not. You can build something at 3 a.m, and people do. I've done it a lot. You know, so. This whole thing about, like, you know, can't we get the building in Rust? Like, I want an AOC. No game can do this yet, but I'm going to hit you with my fantasy all-star idea of what my fantasy football game is, right? It's the building of Rust, the PvP of Rust, but with the weapons of New World. The world of Valheim, procedurally generated, right? But I want procedural generation where if it's an empty node like EVE Online, like if the system's dead, I want that system to flux every 24 hours. I want it to completely change with the node system that he is bringing with Ashes of Creation. But I mean, I don't see the innovation that is necessary to actually keep us there. And this is what they're actually scared of with all these Ashes of Creation have a major problem thing. A vibe that they're on is it's not going to be a dream game. It's going to be more like New World. It's going to die in the first like 3 months, and then people will have to come back to it because we can't have nice things anymore. We can't have a good launch because there's so many naysayers and poo-pooers eating their own poo-poo that, like, you know, oh, my phone is in the other room. Oh, damn it. That, like, you know,
everyone so they can make more money.
I have to also say that the last.
Gotta go find my phone. I'll be right back.
Making a game for everyone that they want to play. I think the last time that somebody used that example was Chris Wilson whenever he was justifying a lot of the changes that were made. I think this was during Expedition League. I don't remember exactly which league, that were wildly unpopular and caused a pretty big exodus from the game. So I don't think that, yeah, the vision, right? And this is the same thing with the Arc Nemesis mods in this league as well. So I think that if you look at another example of people making a game that they want to play, also like another example of that is that, you know, remember whenever World of Warcraft got rid of a lot of the different paintings inside of the game that had, you know, scantily clad women, etc. One of the developers actually came on Twitter and said, well, what about what we want? What about, you know, how the game makes us feel? And I think this was also received quite negatively because whenever you put a game out and you put it out for a wide audience, of course you should make a game that you want. But you also shouldn't be surprised whenever people go and they say, hey, you know, this isn't what we want. SJW Asma, wait, no, I said I didn't like this. I want the half-naked girls with their titties out. I want that back in the game. I want it back in the game now. Absolutely. Yeah, that's not devs. Yeah, it was. There was a specific dev that said that. What do you mean? I don't like those people naming names, right? Because it's like sometimes people go and harass the guy or something like that. But overall, yes, it's true. You can look it up if you want. One dev. I think it was 2, but I don't know about that. I think that it could have been him saying that and then other developers supporting him in him saying that. Which, does that mean that it's only him saying that, or the other developers supporting him imply that they are saying it too? It's hard to say. But what I'm really trying to get at here is that I think that making a game for yourself and doing something like that for yourself, you always have the agency to do that in the same way that other people have the agency to say that it's wrong.
And
So
this,
yes,
this
Lucky
is
Face
this is an excellent segue into the rest of what I was trying to get at here, which just like him, which is that that whole thing about building myself off the streets with nothing but going from nothing but a rock and a torch to a, you know, living in a 5-star hotel for months with the hottest girl you've ever met, right? And a sports car. That's like, you know, and I lived in a hotel because I couldn't buy a house, of course, but if I had kept at it for 2 more years, I would have been able to buy a house. So, like, whatever, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes fortunes come and go, etc. It's life. It happens. You know. So, but this is what I'm trying to say is like this is what's missing. This is why Rust is so good. You forge a survival out of the literal side of the mountain, pretty much. Somehow you got like a rock and a torch. You pick a lot of cloth to make clothes, and and make bandages and stuff. And you fight wolves with spears and shit. You chuck spears at other spear chuckers and all this other shit, and then one of them might have a bow, or you might eventually be able to string up a bow, and you get wood and make arrows and stuff, and you go hunting, you kill yourself a pig, and you're not starving anymore, and then you go fucking, you go find yourself some rock, and you get some rock, and then you make a fucking house, and you start making a house, and yes, it takes some hours. In video games, it takes hours. In real life, it takes some weeks, if not months. So, but in it's a video game, so it's sped up. So it might take you some hours, but you build finally like a nice house. 3 or 4 days later, you have something like this. You have something like this 3 or 4 days later. And that is what is going to be missing from AOC. If it is not there, then it's not a good game. If it's missing from AOC, we need to be able to forge fucking survival out of the side of the fucking like out of the side of the mountain, basically, or whatever, out of the beach, whatever. We went crab hunting today, etc. That's what humans actually want. They want to go back to being hunters and gatherers in a world where there's a bunch of other hunters and gatherers, and you have conflict with them, or you join up with them and you talk to them and all this other stuff. But that's actually, in my experience, what humans want to do. They want to go dig butts and bugs in the dirt. That's actually what they want to do. Believe it or not. They don't want all this 9 to 5 bullshit. They want to go shoot at crabs on a beach. Seriously, because like that seems more fun to them than dealing with their cheating boyfriend, or dealing with their taxes, or dealing with their cheating wife, or dealing with their fucking etc., or dealing with their asshole son who's got a methamphetamine addiction and a fat belly, or any of the other stuff that people in my life might be dealing with, etc., and all this. So it's like it's funny. It is what it is. But I mean, this is what we need. We need this. We need to be able to build this in Ashes of Creation. If you don't put it there, it'll die. If this isn't there, it'll die. This is what is necessary in 2022. It is why Rust is slowly climbing the charts. A game that should be dying because it's 7 years old is going up the charts because people are beginning to realize that Rust is 91,000, not too bad. 91,000, $26 today. Rust is the best and the worst game ever made. Now, if AOC can get the worst sides of Rust out of their fucking system, but put that same kind of gameplay up, or who cares if you die? I mean, who cares? And yes, I want full loot drop PvP, but I don't want it in the first. Let's cut the game into 2 halves, right? I don't want loot drop PvP in the first half of the game. And by the first half, I mean, like, you can spend 2 years there before you ever get ganked, right? I was about the first fucking half, right? The first half of the game should just be growth phases and PvE form with, like, just, like, keep growing and getting bigger and stuff. And then eventually, when you reach a high enough level, you start forming a big enough band to go fight other people and stuff, and then eventually the politics of Rust should come into Ashes of Creation. And I don't think Arcade should enter into it, Steven. I don't think Arcade should enter into it, Steven. I know that's what you cut your teeth on, but I don't think Arcade should. I mean, I played Arcade too. Trust me, Rust is far fucking superior. If you don't know, you come down off that developer's grind for like 3 days, right? And take a nice executive retreat. Play you some Rust with your homies and shit. And you'll begin to understand what is missing from AOC. Rust is a really good game if you take away the assholes. It is the best game, but it's infested with assholes who are addicted to eviction. I'm Donald Trump and I'm evicting you kind of bullshit. Fuck them.
I don't agree with it.
So I just like
whatever happened to be like, look, man, I feel sympathy for you, man. This piece of crap base, I don't need to fuck with you. I'm not gonna steal your 2K stone with my 10K sulfur. I'm not gonna steal. I'm not gonna do that. You have a nice day. This is why I love Tay. Tay was like the best kid I ever played with because he actually has honor. And he actually says these things to their fucking face. And I love somebody with some actual fucking honor, and I would follow Tay till the day I died. No, I don't see Tay on the daily. Taylor on the daily. I don't see the Taylor on the daily, and I feel really bad. I don't see the Taylor on the daily, and I feel really bad. I can tell him that next time I see him. It might be never, but I mean, like, you know, I wish I could see Taylor on the daily, but I just don't. I mean, I'm not. It's not my life anymore. I moved on from Rust. I'm happy that I moved on from Rust. Thank God that my last team. Thank God that my last team was, like, really good about just straight up quitting the game. They had the discipline to do it. They, like, straight up fucking quit the game. I fucking love that. Like, if Lucky and John and Dalt and, Dog hadn't quit the game... And I'm sure Dog didn't quit the game, but whatever. Like, you know, like, maybe Lucky didn't quit the game either, but I know that John and Dalton and I did. Absolutely. We all three of us just quit fucking Rust. It's too much drama. It's too many problems. It's too much expected. For college students, that's too much upkeep. Like, Rust is too much upkeep for college students. And I wonder if Helk and fucking Face Punch ever considered that. Upkeep is particularly nasty. And it wouldn't be like that. It would be some years before your roof started to decay. You know, and that's the whole point of Rust, is everything rusts away eventually and leaves this open loot, you know. But I mean, Rust is on my mind, apparently. I might go do, I have a little bit of a secret, but I have a way to hide from a stream snipers, actually, that's very powerful, that I might go use. And I might go build me a nice little 2x1 on Rust for like an hour before I realize that I still hate the game, you know, because it's a pretty fun game if you can get away from the assholes.
The reason I'm saying this, right, is I gave
you fucking assholes. Fuck you.
2 examples of developers making a game that they wanted to play rather than the game that the audience wanted, and that having a negative effect on the audience and the game itself. So I don't think...
Like, for instance, my entire Rust career, I never had any opponent that I respected. It didn't happen. They were all shitheads. All of them. I didn't meet an opponent that I thought... I did, I'm sorry. There was one and I know because I feared him the most. It was this guy named Shook, right? He wasn't Shook. He had a 15-man crew, and he was owning Reddit fucking monthly... really in a really rude manner, but it wasn't against the rules, it wasn't against the honor code, it wasn't against anything at all. He just brought 15 people to come raid all day. I mean, that's what Rust is. He wasn't rude about it, unlike the other 99.99% of the people who raided us, right? Or us raiding, we were incredibly rude about it. But he wasn't rude about it. He hit us 11 times in 11 days. He didn't say a word the entire 11 days, you know? He was laughing at us when we got angry, but he wasn't there to make us feel bad. It was just business to him. The business of evicting everybody the fuck off the server so that his huge 7-base compound, think 7-base compound, you know, if you've never seen one, I'll show you. It's really crazy. This is what he had to protect, right? A 7-base compound, compound with an M. Compound. Oh, in 23 minutes I will have to go to dinner for however long. I'm not quite sure. Compound. Perfect compound, right? Building the solo compound. No, but how to build the best compound door. How to build compound gatehouses. The mini abuser. The best Rust clan base in 2022. Let's see the end result, right? So...
honeycomb here. It's a little iffy though.
So I guess he shows the base tour. The base tour is what I'm looking for here.
All right, here we are outside of the mini abuser, coming into the compound. We have our outermost.
So there we go. So that this is, and so he has 7 of these. Think about it. What it would take, the amount of resources it would take to not only build but also upkeep 7 of these, and wall off an entire quarter of the fucking map. Like, you know, is astronomical. You would have to eat everybody else the fuck around you. He did this for his own personal edification. There's Rust gods who want to do stuff like this, and he brought the 15 man to do it with the AKs and the large oil runs all day. I know, because we fucked with him a lot. We fucked with him for the first like week. We I don't know why, but Tay moved in next to the motherfucker, and of course we lost. We moved. And it's not like Tay knows. Tay doesn't know he's there. We didn't know he was there, and suddenly the next day, there's like a 7-compound asshole building, like with 15 people, large oil boats going out all day long, you know, coming back with grenade launchers and fucking AKs and MP5s and shit like that. And they got all these crazy guns coming in. We got SARS if we're lucky, you know, because we don't run large oil all day. It's just not my vibe. I don't want to be all sweaty and have to do things all day. It's just not my thing. Like, I'd rather play Final Fantasy 11 because it doesn't require me to do anything if I don't fucking want, you know? Like, fucking, you know. Oops, empty, kind of. Oh, I missed Honey. Honey, I sure look and see who's down. I'll do some. Sure, we're gonna do some. We'll give you 4.5 hours. So one step. So yeah, we're fighting monster, water monster.
Externals with many Satori disconnectables on each. As you can see, the outer compound is optimized for endless early game furnaces, so you don't have to wait on wide gap to go up before you place them.
Blah blah blah. So it goes on. I want to see an outer. Like, he's not that good of a builder. It's weird. He's famous and he should be, but he's not that good of a builder because you would do the outside tour, like the descriptive intro, like fly around the base and show how big it actually is. Like, what are you doing?
As you can see, the outer.
You see the fires of industry burning. This guy had 7 bases like that. That guy we fought, Shook, he was roughly, I'd say, 7 times better than this guy, and this guy's getting, you know, 24,000 subs and all this. Shook was a lot better than this guy. So I would say, you know, there was one opponent that I met that I actually did respect, because that whole month during that wipe, I put together a crew of like 13 people or something like that, though only 6 or 8 would show up at any given time. And I did not put that crew together. That was Tay. He pulled in Danny, Shay, and Demon, which were a wonderful addition to our fucking party. Absolutely loved them. They were great kids. They were all like 13. I don't give a flying fuck. They were really fucking good. They were beamers. They were great. There was things they did that weren't that amazing, but they were like definitely were really. They weren't farmers, and I didn't expect them to be, you know. But they were really good fucking like shooters, you know. So we had those 3, and then our actual core, which was me, Isaiah, Isaiah and them were living next to us, but that particular wipe, it was just me, Tay, I want to say Smithy, and I forget who else was there. Pat, no, was Pat with us? I can't remember. Yeah, Pat was with us for that wipe. It was the wipe I brought Pat back for. And then we met Ffxi, and I thought Ffxi was a fucking cheater, because Ffxi is a cheater without hacks. Ffxi is a cheater without hacks. He's like, he's so fucking good at the whole shooting thing. Ffxi lol, right? And I promised him from time to time that I would come and I would, you know, I would show people, his videos and stuff, and I made a promise that I would do this, so I will do this, and I want to support him, so I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? Subbed and liked, you know what I'm saying? Ffxi presents, right? So we're gonna put Ffxi's shit on my screen. He needs a new computer, but he's 13 years old, I mean, whatever, 15. I don't know, I don't know how he's gonna get that money. But yeah. No, he's 13. And I don't voluntarily hang out with 13-year-olds, which is one of the reasons why I'm not on Rust, because Rust thrust a lot of squeakers in my face, and I really didn't like it. But I mean, I love the kids; they're great. I mean, I don't love kids or whatever. I'm just saying it's fun to be around kids, but it's not appropriate for a 40-year-old man to be around fucking kids all day, unless you're a teacher or something like that and you've been trained or whatever. I just said it's just like sort of weird, you know. 20-year-olds are fine. 40-year-olds not so much. It's weird when a 40-year-old dude is like hanging out with like fucking 6 teenagers, you know, and a 20-year-old. And like, sure, I'm the old guy. You know, they talked about this. The Offspring, you know, Noodles, their bassist for the band Offspring, was like this 40-year-old janitor. When they started that band, when they were like 14, they started a punk band, and they brought the janitor from their high school, Noodles, right? Noodles, and I'm not kidding. Noodles was the janitor at their fucking high school, and he was so cool, and he smoked pot, and they loved him and shit and all this, and he smoked pot with teenagers and shit like that because he was like that. And then they made the Offspring. We wouldn't have had the Offspring if 40-year-olds didn't hang out with teenagers, but I still don't think it was appropriate. I still don't think it was appropriate. We wouldn't have had the Offspring if it wasn't for that. But I mean, it's still, you know, it's not appropriate though. And so anyway, so that was another reason why I left Rust, you know, is because it's, you know, it's weird. It thrusts little kids in your face all day, like nowhere else. I've never seen it anywhere else like that, except for like Call of Duty or something. It's like weird.
Alpha, you
Dead.
Big bag in the green and a big old 40 knock the hair off your chin. There go the gyms. Everybody tuck this in, cause if you don't, they gon' probably ship me off to the pen. I'm built to win. I don't do this shit for pretend. Let a nigga slide through, burn them down like I said. We split wigs. Mafia, we snatch up bands. Better keep her over there before I start on bitch. Hey, nigga on my baby, you from over there, cool. Bitch, I'm going my crazy way. Pause. Think I left my drakey. I just popped 2 perks and my leg keeps saying.
Woo!
Designer dreams. I introduce your bitch to the finer things. That's on the mind.
Woo!
Keep the stick in designer jeans. Hey, gang shit. Let me cut up. I just hit it from the back with no rubber. I just fucked in the Smiths. I don't love her. Glock with a drum, link the weapon, then he glove.
Oh! Yeah, bitch!
I already got some money, but I pray on more. You's a bitch. You just have to hate on hoes.
Oh, bitch, what? I love Nuxie, always have. Can't play with him, he's too young, but I mean, that's a good friend of mine, motherfucker. I kicked him out because I thought he was hacking. I kicked him out of my crew. It was hilarious. He probably actually really loved it. He hated it. He really hated it. He told us how much he hated it. But I kicked him out of my fucking crew because I was like, you have to be fucking hacking. Your friend got busted for fucking vac evasion. But he's obviously not hacking. He put a fucking YouTube video on it about his spray. He's proud of it. And this whole thing is probably, this is a hand cam thing he did. This is a whole video he did to prove that he's not hacking to me. Do you see it? He cared enough about my feelings to put a video on YouTube about how he wasn't hacking because he loves our crew. And it turns out we're not good enough to play with him, which is probably more heartbreaking than when we kicked him out. But we're not good enough to play with him. I'll tell you right now, we're not. Tay is. That's about it. I'd say Tay, Dino are good enough to play with him. Smithy's better than him. Yeah. And who else? Pat has his moments. Sometimes I look at Pat's gameplay and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, you actually really are super good. And then other times I'm like, man, you suck dick there though, Pat. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be critical, because one of my best friends, I'm critical of him. But sometimes Pat will rip out a crazy ass motherfucking kill. I've seen it. But like other times, he's like me, he's inconsistent. Most of the time, I just lose, you know? But yeah. Listen to the headshot. Squish, squish, squish. Squish, squish, squish. Squish, 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 squish. Squish, 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 squish. Headshots, right? You got about 2 of them before you're dead. So, you know, squish, 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 squish. Look at him pull his hand, by the way. This is an art form, right? Look at his hand. It's fucking beautiful. I wish I could shoot like this. There's no fucking way. I don't care to. I can kick your ass in WoW 10 times better than what he's doing, though. Don't step to me on motherfucking WoW. You know what I'm saying? I'll kick your ass on any class, any fucking, any spec. Doesn't fucking matter. Serve Hunter, you bet it. You know, classes people don't play. Enhance, oh, you better bet so. Rogue, and all 3 Rogue. Although I don't know Outlaw very well because they changed it. I was a really good combat Rogue. I'm sorry, super good. But then they just shat on the spec and completely changed it and erased it. It's gone. Combat Rogue's gone. It's Outlaw Rogue and it's really bad. It's like super bad. It's not worth playing. Maybe it is actually, but it's not worth playing to me. Maybe I'll play Outlaw Rogue. It's like the only one that I really don't know well anymore. All the rest of them, it doesn't matter. Hunter, Rogue, Mage, Locke, Shadow Priest, Warrior. Doesn't matter. I'll kick your ass any day, on any spec, anywhere. Name the fucking place. I'm one of the best in the fucking world. And no, it's not a bunch of bluster or whatever the fuck. It's actually real. I got the achievements. I got the Gladiator to prove it. You know what I'm saying? I'm some of the best in the motherfucking world. And wow. You know, there's a difference. So anyways, we'll go back to like what we were talking about here. But I want an AOC that like, you know, has the second half of the game is a full-blown PvP game, and it is like an island that they have to sail to that's huge. And I'm talking like Africa, like a whole nother continent really. But it's entirely a free-for-all PvP place. And let the you know, look at the map of Azeroth, right? The map of Azeroth. I have a really good book about this. Maybe I can pull it out of the map of. Oh shit, I am. Oh no, I'm not late. I got 10 minutes here. Excuse me. I have a good book for this. I just have to pull it. I don't know where it is. There it is. So, rather than consult the internet, we will consult the World of Warcraft Chronicle. If you don't have this book, you should. It's fucking wonderful. It's like $20, and it's really beautiful. And we're looking for a full-blown map of Azeroth, and there's really cool stuff in here, like this, which is really fucking cool. This is the Illuminati deep state of the systems, the racial systems in WoW. It goes deep. But anyways, etc. We're going to keep pulling until I don't want to hurt this book. Mythos, right? But I want the map. I want a map of Azeroth. Maybe in the index we can find one. I want a map of... Right, I want a map. Is it that hard? ELM... No, they did not put map in the index. You guys are bad at this. Here we are. I actually nailed it somehow. I don't know how I nailed it, but here is a map. You can see this on the screen much better, I guess. I suppose it's stupid to put it on the camera, but I mean, I just wanted to show that I am a WoW, like, you know, addict. I am a WoW fan, and I have my Chronicle. Just saying. It's kind of funny. But I want Ashes of Creation to be exactly like this, and make the left side and the right side can the not the map, but the can you actually like maybe like do this competently, please? I don't know, man. You can't do it. You can't do it. Okay, maybe. Yeah. There we go. So we'll go like F11, get a little bit more screen real estate. Yeah, you can't do this though, can you? Nope. So anyway, so I want procedural generation of this continent here on the left, right? I want, and I'll prove to you that I'm a better game concept designer than anybody at these AAA at these AAA titles. I got concepts, you know what I'm saying? Better than what they're thinking. Left side continent is procedurally generated. Right side continent is procedurally generated. The ocean is procedurally generated. All kinds of islands and stuff like that shit in there in between. There might be good landing points on your long journey over there, you know, that takes all day. I want an 8-hour journey to get across this fucking ocean where anything navally could happen, right? This is conceptually the stuff that, you know, like real life, right? Where anything navally could happen. You could get sucked in a vortex. You could see mermaids. You could see a kraken that destroys your ship. You could see you could see an island that looks better than wherever it is you're going. You could see an island that looks worse than where you're going. Like you could see, you could see rafts. You could see castaways, stowaways, everybody, right? Like a rogue could stow away on your ship and hang out in the belly for the whole 8 hours. Why not? You know, somebody who can stealth, right? Somebody who can stealth should be able to come on your boat and hang out in the bathroom or whatever for 8 hours and take a free ride over there. Why not? You know what I'm saying? This is conceptually the stuff that isn't fantastically provided in an MMO. Steven's bit off more than he can chew. So procedurally generated, right? But this is the PvE continent. This is the PvP continent. Sailing between 8 hours, right? So, we know that the PvPers, if they want to get to the new world, they sail for 8 hours across this water. And sure, it's all randomized. It's all autopilot. Like the ship is on autopilot, so you can fucking log for this journey, but it should still take 8 hours of your fucking real life time to make the switch between PvE and PvP continents and stuff. And like and everything in between during that 8 hours. There might be islands, there might be resources, there might be gold mines, there might be like sunken treasure, there might be all kinds of crazy ass shit in between that you could stop the ship. You can't stop the ship's moving directly towards its target, but you can stop the ship if you want to, right? Like Raft. I want the Raft experience in my ArcAge /AOC MMO, right? I want that. And why not, right? And then over here we have full loot drop PvP. I'm talking like you can't actually loot someone if you kill them. You can kill them over here, but you can't loot them, right? And then, so why kill them, right? That's what, and the community will be like, well, don't PvE on on Eastern Island because PvPs were, I'm sorry, on Western Island PvPs were Eastern Island, and make it so it's frowned in the community to just gank like people in PvE, because why would you? Why would you do that? You can't loot them. You don't get honor. There's no payout for it. They get a buff that makes them do 50% more damage when you attack them and stuff like that, where it's just like an uphill battle for you to actually kill the person. So you can kill an enemy if you want, like somebody you really don't like, but it means a lot. Like you got to burn all your potions in a flask and shit, and you're still probably going to lose to the guy because he just gets an automatic 50% damage bonus against you, the ganker, right? Because we don't like bullies, so we want to stack the books against them, not fucking for them, like, which is what WoW and every other shithead company's been doing for a really long time. You guys, Rust included. Rust stacks the books on the side of the bully, not the fucking side of the naked. Not at all. You know, where is a lasso in Rust? Because you should be able to fucking like hog tie a full metal, take everything he has, and leave. You know what I'm saying? When you're naked. Rope has always been part of like humanity's like destiny. You know, we love our slip knots and our rope and stuff. Like, we like rope, right? We always have. So you should be able to fucking lasso a motherfucker in Rust and then like hog tie him so you can't fucking pull the trigger on his AK, take his AK, leave his ass out there to try and fight the fucking rope for 90 seconds until it pops him, right? Something like that. I want gameplay like that. You guys are locked in your combat gameplay and you want to be WoW and you want to be fucking Tarkov and you're not. You're just not. Your combat's weak. It doesn't have a lot of like really cool things to it. It's just mainly just rotations, and it's sort of like the depth is lacking. So we make this harrowing log off for 8 hours when I'm sleeping and wake up in the morning. Okay, guys, we're taking the ship to the new world, right? We're taking the ship to the new world now. We're going to establish over there. We're going to take everything we own on a nice ship. And, you know, and we can't be sunk or we can't be sunk or looted, but we can definitely get killed and have to take another ship over, right? So then it's super high stakes, you know, you're out in the water, and it's not high stakes, but it's high stakes in the respect that you might be 6 hours of the way through your journey and you're on the moving boat. But like, you know, you see another ship and you fire at them and they fire at you, headshot and kill you or whatever. And that's, you know, and then that's it. You're off that boat. You got to take another one over at that point. Right. So, you know, I think there's some really good gameplay that could be, you know, made out of this stuff. So the procedural generation is good. The PvE Care Bears have these crazy kingdoms. I'm talking kingdoms over here, and they're procedurally generated utopia fantasies, where they like have these like rolling hills full of fucking businesses and hello. Okay, I'll be up there. Thank you. Gotta go, guys, in the middle of my spiel. That's how the barrier curse works. It doesn't matter if I get to the best point I've made all day, the phone will ring. It's just how it works. So, gotta go in the middle of my whole spiel, and I had a lot of really good things to say, and I probably lost them. So, it is what it is. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a bit. Gonna be back here probably about, I don't know, 8:30, something like that. And, sorry for the interruption. I know I was on a good bent there trying to, like, save the MMO world, but